Bill Gates, another crisis looms, and it could be worse than the corona BS. When this man talks, you have to listen. He's not just a computer nerd that made billions out of Microsoft by putting viruses in the software so he could make more money, because this guy's an expert on viruses. But yeah, he's now a health expert, and also, of course, he's a climate change expert. By 2060, climate change could be just as deadly as COVID-19, and by 2100, it could be 5 times as deadly. How the fuck does he come up with any bullshit like that? Honestly, who in their right mind would listen to this absolute fucking horrible, despicable? See you next Tuesday. That's Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates urging the government to address climate change. They just got to keep bringing that back. CC, the good old CC. It's not coronavirus crisis, it's climate change. To address climate change with the same sense of urgency as it has the coronavirus crisis. We got from one CC to another CC. If the proper measures aren't taken, then the impact could be far more devastating. Gates put the mortality rate of corona BS at about 14 deaths per 100,000. This guy's he's an expert. He's just on the ball. He's unbelievable. By the end of the century, if the emissions growth rate stays its current course, he said, we could be faced with an extra 73 deaths per 100,000 people due to rising global temperatures. You know, he's spot on there, 73 per 100,000. You know, this guy wouldn't lie to you. He's done his maths. He knows everything, this guy. There's not a thing that this guy doesn't know. As awful as this pandemic is, oh my God. Bill Gates, you are saying that this pandemic is awful when your fortune is probably going to double, or as I've heard, the vaccine, it's going to make your fortune grow 20 times. It's awful. Climate change could be worse. If you want to understand the kind of damage that climate change will inflict, look at BS19 and spread the pain out over a much longer period of time. The loss of life, like you give a fuck about the loss of life, and economic misery caused by this pandemic are on par with what will happen regularly if we do not eliminate the world's carbon emissions. Yeah, let's get rid of these horrid carbon emissions, you know. They're terrible. They've been killing us for centuries. Gates projected this, you know, this guy's the man, that within 20 years, the economic damage, well, hopefully in fucking 20 years, you'll be well gone. By God. Let's just hope it's tomorrow, actually. The economic damage from climate change will be as bad as having the equivalent of BS19 pandemic every decade. I'm sure you'd love to see this bullshit going on every decade, but it won't be going on every decade. It'll be going on every fucking day for the next how many decades, the way things are going. The key point is that climate change will be disastrous. Like you fucking know. Yeah, I've caught, sorry. And how dare I disbelieve you? You're the man, Bill. You're the man. The key point is that if we learn the lessons of BS19, the lessons learned are that you are a fucking disgraceful fucking piece of garbage that should have a noose put around his fucking neck and hung from the tallest fucking tree. Honestly, in case the, you know, if the noose slips, that, you know, the fall's going to be horrendous. Back here, the key point is that if we learn the lessons of BS9, we can approach climate change more informed about the consequences of inaction and more prepared to save lives and prevent the worst possible outcome. The current global crisis can inform our response to the next one. We need to let science and innovation lead the way, finding the necessary solutions such as cleaner sources of energy and other zero-carbon tools which will make me more money. That work not only for the global powers, the globalists, but for poorer countries poised to get hit the hardest. Like you give a fuck about the poorer countries. You wouldn't piss on them, mate, just like I wouldn't piss on you. The effects of CC will almost certainly be harsher than BS19, and they will be the worst for the people who did the least to cause them. The countries that are contributing the most to this problem have a responsibility to try to solve it. How about you just fuck off and die, you filthy fucking garbage?